We are now taking a break, but
on
we are on
YouTube
Rover
now.
Sports YouTube. We are here on wwdbam.com. And also, if you're anywhere near the Philadelphia area, we're in high HD 97.5. It's streaming on YouTube. Welcome back to Rover Sports. If any of you want to watch our video, which is a live stream, we are on Rover Sports YouTube, and we are with Coach Josh Dace, Michael Vito behind the glass, Spencer G. I'm Sports Doc, and we'll be trying to field questions on YouTube, which is a national station, as well as locally here in Philly. Again, our call letters. We are wwdbam.com on any mobile device. We're also HD2, so 97.5, which you all know in the Philadelphia area is 97.5, the big dog. And we are here in studio at Bell Kinwood, and we were just getting into a little Philadelphia Eagles football as a prelude, which will be our big half hour where Michael Vito is going to be leading us in. We'll be talking about point spreads. We'll be talking about gambling odds and all kinds of things. And we'll have 7 games of the week, but we have a little time to cover the Eagles and to jump around some hot topics. Spencer, go ahead. You are an independent viewer. You certainly cover NFL football nationally, and I don't think you're biased with the same rose-colored glasses that I have with respect to the Eagles, but you do give them respect and you call balls and strikes pretty well.
Absolutely. You know, I'm to the stage in my life where I used to have a burning passion for certain NFL teams and certain games in the National Football League, but I'm just getting too old to really become super emotionally worn down over team outcomes. And as you get older, you can't control. You can't control how your team does. You can't control what type of players your team decides to trot out on the field. So I've just become more of a neutral fan and leave the fandom for eighth graders and high schoolers.
That's right. So looking at the Eagles, as we started to say, the strength of their team is their defensive line, certainly. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham are the two stalwarts of the team. What they're talking about is that Jonathan Gannon is going to be moving Fletcher Cox around. He's not just going to keep him on the nose, and he's going to try to exploit his ability to rush the quarterback, and that's certainly a good thing. Brandon Graham obviously started off, as a first-round pick, but the last few years he's been excellent. And we have certain people that are Giants fans, and they don't like the Eagles, and that's fine. We like that. We respect all of our fans. We have a lot of Cowboys fans that listen to this, and we also have, of course, Redskins fans. We have Jonathan O'Neill is a big Redskins fan, and we have Jeff Weagles, who is our big Canadian rover, is a big Redskins fan. So we still call them the Redskins. We haven't yet diverted to calling them the Washington football team because that's a little bit too generic.
I agree, and the thing is, when the Redskins, change their name to the Red Wolves, how long are you going to stay calling them the Washington Redskins or the Cleveland Indians? But the Redskins, their defensive line, or the Washington team, or the D.C., Maryland defensive line, is a good defensive line. You have Chase Young, you have Montez Sweat. They are the reigning NFC East champions. And you look at this team, Bruce, and they had a quarterback who was pretty much on borrowed time last year. They now bring in a quarterback with a huge arm in Ryan Fitzpatrick that has seen about every single defense. And like wine, he ages better. He's playing better with age. So statistically, the Washington Redskins should be a better football team, right? But it's going to be interesting to see in this division, Bruce, if the Dallas Cowboys, who debut tomorrow, if their defense can get any better, because they were a horrible defense. You also look at their quarterback who's injured. You look at Ezekiel Elliott. They're going to start off with the Bucs. That's going to be a dead loss. I think that they can get hammered tomorrow night. But it's really the Redskins, the Cowboys, and it's an interesting division as you look at it. I think that Washington is the popular play with everybody. But I think the Cowboys offense with CeeDee Lamb CeeDee Lamb has got to show up. He's got to become the number 17 overall pick that they expected when they drafted this kid out of Oklahoma, Bruce.
Charlie Balls is saying Skins. So Charlie, who's had a knack for picking winners, believes that the Washington football team will win the division. One bit of news that came out is that Dak Prescott is a full go. He's totally not limited by the shoulder. The shoulder has kept him out of play in the preseason. Apparently the knee is fine. And in fact, he's not even wearing a brace. So he had the repaired knee. He recovered. And the shoulder that was giving him problems is will not be doing so. And so Dak Prescott is really the key. Ezekiel Elliott is healthy. But again, that Dallas D, when you look at the D, why don't you break it down for the Philadelphia viewers? We are Rover Sports. We are on WWDB-AM. Spencer G, Coach Dace, Mike Vito. Spencer, what's going on with that Dallas defense?
I mean, the thing is about this defense is that they're going to have to get used to Dan Quinn. They're going to have to get used to this cover 3 kind of scheme. I mean, Dan Quinn brought in Keanu Neal from Atlanta. You know, Micah Parsons looks really good in the preseason. You still have Van Der Esch, and Van Der Esch needs to stay healthy. Jalen Smith's a weapon. Excited about him. Tavon Diggs, the brother of Stephon Diggs, he's a talent. I mean, this defense, and also you look at DeMarcus Lawrence, who a couple of years ago was really an outstanding pass rusher. This is a team in the Cowboys that are finally getting used to McCarthy. They're getting used to their head coach. And, I mean, I don't know if their defense is going to be spectacular, but the biggest key for the Cowboys in their defense is Ezekiel Elliott. Can he control the ball? Can the Cowboys offense control the ball? Because this is really an offensive-laden team. This is an offensive team, and they're going to be in shootouts. And the way that they're going to win is they're going to have to outscore teams. And that's up to Prescott. It's up to Kellen Moore in this offense to really see if they can do that.
Yeah, well, Spencer, you know they lost one of their starting tackles. Many people believe he's one of the best players on their team.
Zach Martin?
Zach Martin, they lost him. So,
Is he in a COVID protocol?
no,
Or is he hurt for the year?
He's hurt. He's injury.
Did he get it preseason or practice?
He was in preseason, so he's out.
So obviously, when you lose a key offensive lineman, that's really that's a big deficit. And they're playing. I believe they're playing away in Tampa.
Yeah.
Which will be Thursday night. So that's going to be really exciting because you're going to see Tom Brady. You're going to see Dallas. A lot of rooting interest here. And Charlie Bull said Dallas never fixed their biggest problem, which I infer is their defense.
Maybe their defense, maybe their offensive line.
And Charlie's talking about defensive coverage. He's talking about their back seven and their ability to cover.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the teams they're playing, you got Daniel Dimes, and of course Jalen Hurts
And Fitzpatrick.
and Fitzpatrick, who's an older guy. And do we really expect him to play 16 games or 17 games? Actually, I don't know if that's realistic for a guy who's really how old is he? Like 37. He's
39.
Is he really 39? So he's up there.
think
But I don't
let's
think he
look.
has it. He's always been resilient, but he's kind of a ninth inning guy who comes out of the bullpen. He's not a guy you've seen. I don't think he's ever played in a playoff game, has he?
That's not.
So the thing about Fitzpatrick is that he did play well last year, and I know Coach, I'll ask you, what do you think about Fitzpatrick?
I love him. I think he's exciting. I think he's a guy that has fun every time he's out there. He's fun to watch. I mean, he's made throws. He's getting better and better. I think with this team in particular, I think this might be his best chance to get the playoffs. You got McLaurin, you got Gibson, you got guys that can play. So I think, Dallas on paper looks like the paper champion, but they've done for years. They look like the paper champion. Well, I agree with Charlie. I think Washington, the football team, is the best team to go out there. I think the Giants are going to be the Giants again. I don't think they really have a good quarterback in Daniel Jones. It's going to be interesting how Saquon Barkley returns from injury.
Right.
I mean, they have talent too, but you know what? It's their offensive line. We'll see where their offensive line is
Offensive line. Their offense in general is just, I don't think it's passable.
I mean, the only play that I can remember last year for the Giants offense was Danny Dimes running 91 yards and tripping his own feet in Philadelphia and going down. That's what I can remember.
And that just shows you because the Giants, they were up 13 on a team in the Eagles that was absolutely awful. And what happened to the Giants? They couldn't even close out the sorry 2020 Philadelphia Eagles. They blew a lead to the Eagles, which is almost impossible. But that just shows you the Giants and their ineptitude. I mean, listen to this statistic. In the last 16 games against the Eagles and the Cowboys, how many games have the Giants beat the Eagles and the Cowboys in the last 16 games?
I'm just going to take a guess. 3?
Lower.
Oh, really? Well, I'll go real low. How about 1?
2.
Okay.
2-14. They are a joke in this NFC East. They're a joke until they ever start winning again.
So, as you know, Saquon Barkley tore his ACL early. Was it the first game? Last year, second
game in Chicago.
So
Second half.
Saquon has to be, in my opinion, he's got to be a stalwart of their offense. And if he can do that, you have other guys. As far as the wide receivers, you did draft, is his name Toner?
Tony
from Florida Gators. Now, that guy is an exciting, he's a very exciting speedster. And
That's right. And then Kyle Rudolph and Ingram.
Why was he out? Was he out on a... He had a mild... What was his injury? What was his
you
basic-
got to have a line and a quarterback to distribute.
Did he have a shoulder or something?
Completely off. What was I happy?
Hall of Famer.
No, I was just saying wait. But I was just saying wait. I did because the Giants fans, they treated him like the Eagles fans treated McNabb. I mean, that was the worst reception a player's ever gotten at draft day. It was embarrassing.
He got booed?
He absolutely got booed and ripped apart, on draft day. I wanted to wait and see. I don't think I've ever been on the Dimes bandwagon. I'm all over the Tua Tagovailoa bandwagon. I can't leave that bandwagon. But Jones, I was a wait and see with Jones because at Duke he was okay. He never was great at Duke. That quarterback class though, you have Locke, Haskins, Murray.
Yeah, Locke, you're a big fan of.
Where the heck Yeah, it's just that's a tough quarterback class. It really is. Looking at it now, but. What do you think about the Giants offense, Coach? Do you think that Saquon does have to do great so that Jones could go play action?
Sure. Saquon, he has to do great, and he's got to be able to stay healthy. The whole team's got to be able to stay healthy. But Spencer, I always say this: if you have a running game and it opens up the pass, pressure's off Daniel Jones, and everyone's more effective. I think the Giants will have a better year than the Eagles.
Do the Giants have the best coach in the division?
No.
Who would you say that is?
Rivera.
Okay. How about in the future?
You don't know.
I would say Joe Judge is going to be the Giants coach for the next 15 years. That's how good of a coach he is. Even because, listen, this isn't his quarterback. This isn't his offense. But I love, listen, the Giants went to Seattle and won last year. So, he overachieved last year, even though I don't believe the Giants will be that good this year, though.
I want to thank, actually, we are doing this live in Philadelphia on live radio. But on our YouTube page, we do have a lot of national people. And now that you've mentioned the Giants, we did get a question from Chris. What's his last name?
Senor, yeah.
Chris Senor actually had a question. He wants to know about acquisitions, that is, draft choices, free agents, particularly with respect to the offensive line. We want some details. Go ahead, Spence.
On the Giants?
Yeah.
Well, you have Shane Lemieux. He's going to have to play great. Lemieux has to be their guard, their bell cow at their guard. In terms of the center, you have Nick Gates, who's feisty center, played pretty well. Andrew Thomas is the key to the offense. He's a top 5 pick. When you draft someone in the top 5, you're thinking Pro Bowl. You're thinking superstar. This kid didn't allow a pressure at the University of Georgia. He did struggle last year and when he got to the pro level. That if Andrew Thomas doesn't work, the GM is gone. That's the season is Andrew Thomas, a top 5 draft pick. He's the bell cow. On the other side, you have Matt Peart, who's a 3rd round pick, who they're hoping can be pretty decent. Nate Solder, an experienced guy, they paid him $16 million. Massive overpay. He got injured last year with COVID. He has some health problems, didn't play one lick of a snap. But the key is Andrew Thomas. He's the biggest key for the Giants all year, the left tackle position.
And as far as the wide receivers,
You have Galladay, you have Tony, Sterling, Shepard. It's actually deep. I mean, if you had a quarterback who could give these guys the ball, if Galladay could stay healthy because he's always injured, but he's 6'6", you could throw the ball up to him. He was great on Detroit. They're paying him $18 million a year. Tony's fast. Sterling Shepard's a good possession receiver. Dante Pettis, they're good at that position. They're a good team. They just have their quarterback is what holds them back, and that's the frustrating thing. Their defense is good. They need a quarterback. They need Jones to play well.
there was a report yesterday out of Philly right here that Dallas Goedert did not receive the extension he was looking for. The Eagles have not extended him. He's on the last year of his contract. And obviously, to me, that you try to read the tea leaves. This dovetails with the fact that Zach Ertz really came out and said, look, whatever differences I had with the Eagles, I want to retire here. He was kind of sulking last year. It looked like he'd checked out on the team. But he came back. He was a good soldier. He was playing on the practice squad. And you look at him now, there's a guy, Tyree Jackson, who had it's actually a spinal compression fracture. He should be back in about 6 weeks. So even though you hear a spine fracture, you think it's terrible. This is something that's just a matter of pain relief. And he's going to be wearing a brace in probably about 6 weeks. This is a huge guy, the converted quarterback, 6'7", had a really nice preseason. So it looks like the Eagles are hedging their bets. They are not committing themselves to Dallas Goedert. And Dallas Goedert had an up and down year last year. He got hurt. He just didn't have the breakout year. And I think, Ertz still has a chance. If he has a great year, if he goes back to being Zach Ertz, they may extend him. And there wasn't a lot of interest around the league. Zach Ertz had a bad year last year, high contract. There was virtually no interest. And to Howie Roseman's credit, he just didn't give him away for a bag of donuts. And now he's rejuvenated. And I think the Eagles are really looking at these guys. And Ertz, granted, he doesn't get a lot of yards after the catch, but you're going to get to both of these players are playing they're in their contract year. And I actually think Howie handled it right.
I agree with you, Doc. Contracts and Eagles front office don't always blend. Howie's very particular about who he gives money. Let's not forget, he's spent some stupid money on Alshon Jeffrey in the past. But
Deshaun Jackson, bringing him back was a huge mistake. This is a guy who was still very immature. He did a backflip after one touchdown, and he was out for another 4 games. Here's a guy with a basic hernia. Just a basic hernia. And any normal person would just get the hernia fixed. This is a guy who basically sat out 6 games, then got the hernia repaired, then missed games after the hernia repair, and then got hit. And so that was a complete loss. So Alshon, Deshaun Jackson,
Jason Peters,
just you're bringing Jason Peters back year after year, always getting hurt. And there's so much money that was thrown their way. Finally
Carson
now,
Wentz.
they're down under that, getting rid of Wentz. They're finally poised, at least next year, to have a lot of draft picks and to be in the middle of the pack with the cap. So
Howie's master plan.
So
Are they $30 million in dead cap this year?
34.
It's tough to field a football team when you're $34 million in dead cap. I think the record is abysmal of teams that have done that before when you look at the season.
Well, looking at the season, and going around, talking about it, there's so much speculation, Doc. You don't know what to expect. We haven't really seen anything with Sirianni. The one thing that continues to come out, though, is these players have really built good relationships with their coaches, the receivers coach and the tight ends coach. They have built solid relationships with these guys. And I'll say this, when you have coaches that, really value the players and the players value them, you're going to get a lot more out of it. You really are. Yeah,
I truly believe that. I think there was a lot of dysfunction with Doug Peterson. It was below the surface. A lot of it came out. It's just like having the stewage just spewing out. There was a lot of conflict between Wentz, Howie, and Doug Peterson, and all of that really made it impossible for there to be a winning team. And I understood that Peterson Wentz a lot of times audibled out of Peterson's. When you get the coach and the quarterback just hating each other, it's hard enough to win in the NFL. But what we saw last year was just horrible. The team quit, and when Jalen Hurts came back, again, he wasn't perfect, but at least you saw a clear spark. And now he's been anointed the number 1, and he's got every chance. Again, the preseason, whatever that's worth, he didn't have that many snaps. he didn't look that accurate. And the question is, what is he going to show? Nobody really knows.
So it's interesting, Dallas Goedert. I think that his agent basically would not make a deal because I think Goddard's value is not as high as it could be coming off of the last few years where he's kind of been banged up and hurt. I think if he would have signed the deal, the Eagles would have got him on a cheaper deal. Now, if Goddard has one terrific season, he's going to get a massive 5-year deal, whether it be with the Eagles or somebody else. So I think that his agent's just doing due diligence by his client.
Well, sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't work. He's trying to get Kittle money. He's trying to get Kelsey money. And he's just not that kind of player. He's been hurt. He's been very spotty. He's been on and off. At certain games, he'll catch like maybe 2 or 3 passes. He's not been the dominant force. He's got some speed. He's got good size. But he's clearly at best, he's a second-tier tight end. And I think Howie's been right to not throw the money at him. And if he has an incredible breakout year, sure. But we haven't seen it yet. And we don't really know how they're going to use him. And like you said, there's a lot of dead cat money.
You got to be excited. You got to be excited because he has all the incentive in the world to play great.
Well,
And I think that this guy has the tools to be like a top 5 tight end in the league.
But we've seen it a lot. We've seen a lot of tight ends over the years that have had the tools. It just never panned out. We've seen it at that position particularly. Goddard's a good blocker, admittedly. And Ertz is an average blocker, no better than that. I think he's gotten better at blocking. When he came in, he was a poor blocker. But I think this Tyree Jackson could be a wild card. And when he comes back, and 6 games into the season, there's still going to be 11 games left. If he plays really well, they don't have to break the bank for either of these guys.
Not for Jackson, probably not.
Well, not for Goddard, not for Ertz. I think Ertz, if you give him a mid-level deal, I think Ertz is basically likes being in Philly. His wife likes being in here, and she's a professional soccer player. I think he's well-liked. I think Ertz is well-liked, and I don't think the city ever really turned on, despite the fact that Ertz checked out. I think that most people I've heard, now that he said, I'm all in, most people are happy with Ertz. He's a Super Bowl champion and a good guy, a person who's, people that know him, people that are in his building, they all say he's a pretty good guy.
Oh, absolutely, Doc. He's really good. And also, his family does a lot. Him and his wife do a tremendous amount for the community. They were with first responders. They provided meals down at Penn, especially with the doctors and nurses that were on COVID floors. He's a class act, true and true. He handled himself completely different from the other 2 disgruntled Philadelphia sports figures in Ben Simmons and Carson Wentz.
Yeah, you're right. And there was a good article by Marcus Hayes. It was about a week ago. You all should look at it at Philly.com. It's an article that really talked about Ben Simmons and Carson Wentz and how they both blamed Philadelphia. They blamed the fan base, but really, they're the ones who just checked out. If Wentz, they draft a 2nd-round pick, and he didn't have a particularly great college career. I think any of us here could go to Oklahoma and probably set records because Oklahoma is a machine. But instead of having rabbit ears, instead of just checking out, and basically Wentz and Simmons did the same thing. They did a hiding act. They hid from the media. They hid from their own teams. They basically forced themselves, well, at least Wentz successfully forced himself out. They didn't get a lot back for him because he only really wanted to go to one team. And Ben Simmons, again, there hasn't been really any news other than saying that he's not coming back. And a lot of the fans really want him to go to the G League. You're not the only one who wants him to do that because Simmons has got a $147 million contract. He's blaming the fans for his lack of performance. He basically didn't shoot at all in any of the fourth quarters, and now he's blaming it on the fans. Instead of going to the gym, knuckling under, coming back, trying to prove yourself, showing some heart, this guy's just quitting. He's checking out. He's weak. He's a coward. He's quitting.
Yeah.
Doc, it's interesting. I spoke to a couple buddies who were in and around the NBA circles, and it's interesting. They're sitting there and they're watching this, and they're saying they're not going to. They know every team has the Sixers out by a barrel. The Sixers, Morey's saying, "Okay, give me Klay Thompson and Steph Curry for him if you're Golden State."
Give me 5 first-round draft picks. These are a joke. I mean, this is just to try to stir the pot, and I don't think anybody's biting on that.
No one is, and they're saying to him, they believe the guy's a project. They believe, other general managers believe this guy has some deficiencies, more deficiencies than ever. And even teams like, Minnesota, they're looking at saying maybe we can give an expiring contract and maybe a possible late first round pick for this guy. But they're not willing to. David Lillard, people who have been saying, "Oh, we're getting David Lillard for him," they must be, on.
They're saying Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal. You're not going to sniff either one of those guys, and you're looking at it. I know we met Adam Sherman, if he's listening. Adam is a really big basketball guy, another really good coach. He's very close to Larry Brown, and he was mentioning how he likes Buddy Hield. Who was the secondary player in that trade?
I think it's this guy from Iowa State, this rookie Halliburton. Who's like another point guard. It's like 6'6", taller point guard.
Is he? So he's a pretty, but they're projected to be a good player, average NBA player. What do you think?
A good rookie season, but you don't know. I mean, I would rather have the lefty Fox, who's at least played, a lot of basketball. But, I think Brogdon is just as good as, Halliburton. I mean, Brogdon's been really good, for the Bucks and the Pacers, and we had that deal lined up, ready to go in the summer, and now Simmons has torpedoed this entire thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really bad. To see how this thing plays out, it could get really ugly here in Philadelphia, and I just hope they just don't roll over and just give them away. I know that's always a possibility, especially when you have Rich Paul is a very influential agent in the league, and I think it's a very tough situation.
Well, I don't think Daryl Morey is going to allow that. I really don't, because he would lose a lot of credibility within the league if he just let this, Ben Simmons dictate the entire time. He would be mocked amongst the NBA circles for allowing that.
We're going to be heading into our final half hour, and we're going to be doing some bold predictions. We'll be back on Rover Sports.
So we could do the lines, over-unders, betting stuff.
So I thank everybody on YouTube. Feel free to put your comments in. I know we try to hit NFC East. I know there's a lot of people from Philadelphia and from New York. Wow. Wait, that was a quick turnaround. Here we go.
I know.
Ooh, welcome back to Rover Sports. We have Charlie Bowles, who is remote, and he's unfortunately bearing the brunt of Hurricane Ida, and he's working on that. And we miss Charlie here in studio. Dr. Steve Lewis is busy serving many of his patients on call, and he might be calling in the last half hour. But what we have, we're teeing up Michael Vito, and we've got Coach Dash. I'm Sports Doc here. We're on Rover Sports YouTube if you want to actually watch us. But most importantly, we're on HD2. We're on 97.5 FM. We're on the FM Clear Channel dial for all of you, and we'll be riding right through till 8:30. There is no terrestrial rules when it comes to FM. We even sound better on FM. And for many of you listening, and many of you who may be coming home eating dinner, and you say, well, I'm not going to be listening to the FM. I'm not in my car anymore. You could go to WWDB-AM, WWDBAM.com, and you could ride with us to the end. Mike Vito, you're going to be teeing up some of the games. You're also going to be keeping track of our various records. Obviously, Thursday is the onset, so you have the ability for some of those in absentia to get their picks, and you're going to be keeping track. Hello, Charlie Bowles. And you'll be able to, Charlie can text us during the show. And in fact, Charlie, if you dial in, we are at 888-329-3306. Again, toll free, anybody, including Charlie, of course, 888-329-3306. We're going to go around the horn. We're going to go pretty rapid fire in this last half hour. And we're finally going to be picking real games, real NFL, regular season games that matter with point spreads. And Mike is going to be keeping track of it. So with that, without any further ado, Mike, let's get us started. And we are going to get a trophy, which is going to be called the Rover Bowl Trophy. I'm going to actually go out and purchase a trophy, And every year, just like in the league, whoever has the best record is going to be the proud owner of
The Shiva Bowl.
We'll keep it at 7 a
Is it
week.
against the spread?
We're keeping it against the spread. I like it. I think it. I like
Against
it
the
against the
spread.
spread. That's more difficult.
Yeah.
It's easier to pick winners and losers. Let's make it difficult. No, just give us whatever. We're not mentioning, because if we mention a trademark violation, we don't want to do that.
We'll get sued.
Doesn't matter where you get the lines. And what it matters is we want to get some. We want to get some dialogue. We want to get some disputes. We want to get our blood boiling.
Yes.
We want to work up a frothing boil, and that's what we do here at Rover Sports.
Blood broiling, blood boiling.
Blood boiling. Try to say that 10 times. So we're going to tee up those big seven games. Da 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 da.
Oh, look at Bulls.
I don't see him. Oh, Bulls is ringing. Don't hit. Spencer, take us home.
Wow, this is a high line. I like the Cowboys to cover and the Bucks to win.
Charlie, are you on now?
Go ahead, Bruce.
Charlie,
you give us your
While
pick.
we welcome,
8 points.
I think that this is going to be a romp. Tampa's going to come home. They are home, actually. And they're going to be still celebrating, throwing that Lombardi trophy from boat to boat. Cowboys missing an offensive lineman. Dak Prescott not playing in the preseason. Brady is Brady. And guess what? They want to really show the rest of the league that this Super Bowl victory was not a fluke. So I'm laying the 8. I'm taking the Bucks. Josh.
Doc, I agree with you. I think the party continues down in Tampa Bay, and Tom Brady, who's been a professional his entire life, they go out there and they just stomp Dallas.
Mike Vito, what say you, sir? Well,
I like
so
it.
Mike Vito will take all those 8 points. Do we have Charlie? I think, could we click on him?
Charlie?
Welcome, Charlie. We also wish our best to your the Houndstooth. And how's everything going with Hurricane Ida? Are you starting to get out from under that flood? You're right. We take things like electricity and lights and televisions, internet, all that, which we have in this modern day, we take it for granted. But I'm just so glad that you're safe. There, like you said, people that are hundreds of yards away, just complete annihilation. There was one guy who I think I heard about from Coach here. Luckily, he was healthy. Tell us what happened there.
Charlie. Offered. Charlie, I've never seen anything like it. There's like you spend so much time like at a place, and all of a sudden, I went by it on 309 on Friday, and you just go by that section, and it was just gut wrenching. And then you go spend some time with my parents going through it and driving around and being at the school, and Charlie, like, it's awful. It's absolutely like it looks like napalm. I mean, it, yeah. No, no. I mean, yeah. I talked to the principal today, and I said, if there's anything I can do in terms of manpower. I mean, Charlie, the baseball fields. It literally looked like someone just grabbed the side of the baseball fields and shook them. The head football coach, Brett Stover, he was at practice, inside, and the dumpster blew into his car and totaled his car. Yep. It was just scary.
Looks like it's going to blow. I'm going to play tennis. Hopefully, I won't be in an outdoor arena. Hopefully, my roof will remain on. So, Charlie, as you heard, the first game we're picking is the banner night. Tampa hosting the Dallas Cowboys, an 8-point spread. What say you? So, from a betting standpoint, our listeners are certainly taking notes furiously about Charlie, the guy who picked the Milwaukee Bucks from the beginning of the year, taking the under. But if you have, because we are doing we're doing the Rover Cup, which will be an actual trophy, and we've all picked it. I know Dr. Lewis will be giving his picks before Thursday. You have to pick with the spread, 8 points going to the Cowboys. Who do you pick in that parameter? Okay, so we got Dallas there, and we're going to the next game. Game 2, sir.
Dallas.
We'll do our game last. I agree with that. You'll budget the time because we've got an engineer, a producer who actually keeps track of time very well. Better than Charlie Watts. May he rest in peace. What is game 2?
Charlie, why don't you fire first?
Okay, so Charlie, who is a big Steelers fan who watches the Steelers, as we all do, that's going to be a great game to watch. Two of the premier, top 4 teams in the AFC playing, just giving you a lot of red meat to start out with. 6.5 points, fair amount of points to give. Josh, who do you take in this game?
The game's at Buffalo, right, Mike? I like Buffalo. I think Josh Allen is going to have another signature year. I think Pittsburgh's time is slowly coming to an end as a power in that division, and I'm taking Josh Allen. I think he's going to have a superior year this year.
Yeah, the key is obviously Najee Harris. If you can run the ball against Buffalo, that's the only way. If Buffalo gets up big, it's going to be tough for Ben. Ben Roethlisberger, I think that he is maybe the most polarizing player in all football this year, like the most interesting player to watch. Like, because last year, he looked really damaged in the playoffs. He looked old, he looked tired. But if he can play well, I like their offense a lot. Claypool, second year, Deontay Johnson, Smith-Schuster as a third weapon, and now you add a running back that could just be spectacular. So I love the Steelers. I really think the Steelers can still win the AFC North. But in this game, I'm going to take Buffalo because I think Buffalo is just going to put up too many points on Pittsburgh.
Yes, respecting the Steelers and obviously Charlie's pick. I've been watching a lot of the Bills and certainly the Kaminsky family, and I believe that this is the breakout year for them and maybe going to the AFC Championship. They have a game at home. Sean McDermott's a defensive coach. Pittsburgh, over the last couple years, has not really been that great on the road. Always a good home team, great fans. They do travel well, but I think 6.5 isn't going to be enough. I think Buffalo is going to win this game by more than a touchdown. So I'm also taking Buffalo in the game.
Mike?
Very true.
So a lot of people on YouTube. Obviously, we're in the air here in Philly, and we are actually developing a system where our producer and our callers will be actually imported into multiple platforms, including YouTube. But some of you there are just watching us just stare into space, and that's just because of the fact that we're work in progress. So appreciate the 2 viewers we have on YouTube. It's going to get better. We're going to be going to a Mevo system with good tripods, and we're going to be using the XLR connections. And it's been a, so I'm just apologizing to the YouTube fans.
No, it's fine.
Let's go to the
I
next
just want to
game.
get all our picks in.
Yeah, let's go to the next game.
Let's let Charlie go first again here.
Charlie, you got it. That's an interesting pick. I'm going to jump in and say the game's in Kansas City. I am a believer in the Chiefs, a believer in Mahomes. I believe that Cleveland is going to have a good year. But as far as going away on game one, with nobody's really had much practice or rhythm or reps, I'll take Mahomes over Baker Mayfield in that game. And it's going to be a fun game to watch. There are a lot of good games, but I personally am taking the home team.
Yeah.
Josh?
Texas Tech versus Oklahoma with Baker and Mahomes. I told Charlie this. I love Kansas City because I think Kansas City still irritated at the way that Super Bowl went. Kansas City, they're the kings. They're the kings of football, and I think they pour it on. I really do think the Chiefs by 14.
Yeah, I'll take Kansas City. I like the home. I like them I like him coming back. I think they have a lot to prove. Disappointed the way the season ended last year.
Mike?
Oh.
So Mike and Charlie taking the Brownies, the other three, the majority, taking the home team, taking the Chiefs. Next game.
Mike, why don't you fire first?
Mike's going to fire first.
Fire. Wow. So you're picking the Finns to win. Are you picking them to win outright as well? Yeah.
So it's a three.
3-point
I'm going to
line.
jump in. This is a 3-point spread. So it means the Dolphins only get 3 points. This is my Bruce's Sports Talk lock of the week. I love this game. I looked at the Patriots. They loaded up on free agents. They loaded up on defense. Bill Belichick is a defensive coach. Mac Jones, you will see a coming out party for him. This guy is going to throw 60 or 70%. He's going to have a QBR of 140. I like Tua personally, but guess what? This is an easy game, and I'm putting all the money. I'm not putting the house, but putting the Rooster Shack on one of my least favorite franchises, but to win the Patriots.
I knew you were going there. I think this whole room is going to be in lockstep because I do like Tua as well. Like I think he can have a good season, but this is Bill Belichick. This is New England. This is a full house. I think the Patriots too. I like their team this year, the Patriots.
Charlie, where are you going?
Where you go, Charlie? Do you see Tua? Obviously, not being a Bama fan, so you believe that Tua he'll come through big, and he will shine in the game? Good, interesting comment.
All right. You know, I've liked Miami for the last couple of years, especially the reclamation project they did. I love Mike Gesicki. I really do. And I'll go with you guys. I'll take Miami.
All right, interesting. The tables are turned. Spencer and I are on. We're on Revis Island, baby.
Exactly.
We're on Revis Island, and there's no safety help.
But we get Belichick.
But we get Bill, and we get we get Mac, who is one of my favorite people as well as favorite players. So I'm rooting for the big boy. What do we have next there?
I'll fire first. I gotta go like with not the public play. I'm gonna take New Orleans actually. Upset special week 1. Jameis back home and just the Saints defense. It's the Packers traveling. I'll take New Orleans.
I'm actually going to take that too, and I'll tell you why. I think all of this turbulence with Aaron Rodgers and not really playing at all, and I think there is an effect, especially he's going to get it right, but without really playing at all in that first game, the Saints just a solid coaching, and I certainly will take Sean Payton, so I'm going to take the Saints in that game as well.
Doc, you know what? I got to be honest with you. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have an MVP type year. I think he's going to go out blazing. This is going to be his last year.
He's going to start out blazing too.
Last year in the
You'd
league.
light the fire.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Vito takes the Saints. Let it be noted. Charlie. Charlie Bowles takes the Packers.
The Raiders are a good home team. You know, if you remember last year, they were 2-0. They beat the Saints on Monday night. I like the Raiders. Ground and pound. Josh Jacobs is going to have a big game.
I'll second that, Spence. I think it's Derek Carr's really going to step up this year, and I think he gets started on Monday Night Football.
I must say, this is one of the games I find intriguing because they're two real contrasting teams. I don't have a good feel for this game, I'll admit it. So this would be my weakest pick, but I'm going to take Lamar Jackson. I'm going to take Baltimore. I've seen the Raiders at times just lay an egg and not play that well. It might take them a little while to get going. So I'm just going on a pure gut feel, but not a great gut feel. I'm taking the Ravens in this game. Charlie. Michael?
I think we got to go to the Eagles game. This is
How
it.
many more minutes do we have left in the show, Mike? About 4 minutes. Okay. So Eagles are getting 3. Let's go with the national voice, Charlie Bowles. Not an Eagles fan. What do you see here? With the spread, do you pick Atlanta? Josh Dash.
I think the Eagles are a disaster this year. I don't really have much faith in them, Charlie. I think Matt Ryan's still a top 10 quarterback. I think Calvin Ridley's going to have a great year. I'm going Atlanta.
Spencer, what do you do? Get us a little deep analysis. What do you see?
I like the Falcons to be a playoff team. I like Arthur Smith and his offense. He resurrected Tannehill's career. Tannehill, the most air yardage per attempt. You have Calvin Ridley, Pitts, Mike Davis running the ball. You're going to the Dome there with a new defensive coordinator and Dean Pease. This is a great spot for Atlanta. Atlanta, when they play the Eagles at home, they do very well. You remember the Julio Jones screen pass a couple of years ago. I like the Falcons by double digits.
Michael. In order to win the Rover Cup, there are times where a guy is going to have to show some cooliones. He's going to have to somehow separate from the pack. And even though the smart money is going with the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm basically going like behind door number 2, where I don't even know it's door number 2. It could be a goat, a 3-legged goat there. In order to separate from the other Rovers, I am going to take the Eagles in this game just to be a naysayer.
Well, Doc, you know what I think? Doc, I think the other lock of the week would be Dr. Lewis taking the Eagles for 17 straight weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Lewis is an obsession. I think he has him already in the Super Bowl. He already has his Super Bowl tickets.
Book the tickets.
He's already booked his flights and seats to the Super Bowl. And his team, he believes there will be a parade down Broad Street.
Multiple parades.
Iowa State. You heard it first. So we are wrapping things up here at Rover Land. Thank you all for logging in. As always, good night and good sports.